Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie radio program. I'm Pharmacist Ben, sitting in for Doc today. It's great to have you with us. We'll be taking your phone calls here in a little bit if you have questions about medications or supplements or the longevity products, or if you just have a success story or you just want to contribute to the conversation. We'd love to hear from you. Our number today and every day is 831-685-1080. That's our priority line number, and we do have a couple lines open for you at 831-685-1080, or you can call us toll-free at 888-379-2552, 888-379-2552. I am a nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements in my practice where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs. That's because I look at the human body as a healing system, a regenerating system, a renewing system that is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis, but it needs raw materials to do its work, raw materials that we call nutrition and nutritional supplementation. So I get a call from a good friend last week. She happens to be my CPA, and she had unfortunately been diagnosed with one of the scariest health challenge prospects a woman could ever have to deal with, and that's a disease that affects 1 out of every 8 women, breast cancer. Next to skin cancer, it's the most common cause of skin cancer in women. Next to lung cancer, it is the leading cause of death by cancer in women. Nearly 3% of women are going to die from breast cancer. Breast cancer can be thought of as the quintessential fat processing disease. The breasts are largely composed of fatty tissue, and the fat draining system called the lymph is often involved in the development of cancers of the breast. When you understand the fatty nature of the breast tissue and breast cancer, it becomes obvious that focusing on fatty nutrients, and especially on fatty vitamins, can play a significant role in prevention as well as mitigating the damage and minimizing the risks associated with the formation of tumors in the breast. In nature, there's 2 types of vitamins, just as there's 2 types of chemicals. There's fatty chemicals and watery chemicals. There's fatty vitamins and there's watery vitamins. Your main fatty vitamins are vitamins D, E, A, and K. I call them DEEK. Then you have your 2 watery vitamins, water-soluble vitamins, vitamin C, and the B complex. The B complex is itself composed of 8 separate vitamins. So technically you have 9 water-soluble vitamins, but for our purposes we'll call them 2 watery vitamins as well as 4 fatty vitamins. C and the B complex, and then DEEK. Your vitamins function to grease the wheels of the biochemical machinery of the body. Many chemical reactions simply will not occur unless these vitamins are present. Vitamin C serves a protective role. Vitamin E protects the fatty parts of the body, the cell membranes of the body. Vitamin K, very mysterious molecule. It's involved in the chemical reactions of clotting as well as calcium metabolism. And then we come to vitamin A. Vitamin A is the vitamin that makes things happen. Vitamin A is a powerful nutrient that controls the growth of cells and it controls the division of cells, and that makes it very, very important for dealing with cancer, which is basically growth and division of cells run amok. Vitamin A is so powerful, it's regulated by the FDA. It's regulated as a drug. And vitamin A's effects on cell growth, in addition to making it potentially anyway, very important anti-cancer drug, also makes it effective as a skincare agent. Vitamin A is used as chemotherapy for various cancers, and it's also used as an anti-wrinkle topical ingredient in the form of retin A. Retin A also has anti-cancer benefits, and retinoic acid, or the active ingredient in the topical product retin A, is actually known as very effective chemotherapy. Vitamin A is an anti-cancer vitamin. Last month, an article appeared in the International Journal of Oncology that showed that vitamin A can actually reverse the formation of breast cancer cells. Vitamin A may actually turn back the clock on breast cancer. These tremendous healing powers that are associated with vitamin A are due to the fact that vitamin A is not even really a vitamin. Most vitamins have supportive roles. They're cofactors in other reactions. They facilitate biochemistry in the body. They assist biochemistry in the body. But vitamin A, that doesn't mess around as a supporting to support chemical reactions. It makes chemical reactions happen. It's a superstar, not a helper. It goes right to the information center of a cell, the DNA. It literally activates genetics. That makes it no ordinary vitamin. That makes it a commanding molecule. In fact, that makes it a hormone. It's a commanding molecule. It's a hormone that makes things happen, not merely supporting them, not merely helping them. Listen to what I'm saying here, folks. This is so, so cool. You can actually change your very genetics by taking a nutritional supplement. You can actually change the way your genes operate by taking vitamin A, by using vitamin A. You can change your genetics with a food component, with a supplement. That means more healing. That means more growth. That means more anti-aging. That means less wrinkles, stronger bones, bigger muscles, faster healing, and it means less cancer. It may even mean, at least according to the Journal of Oncology, a reversal of cancer. Vitamin A is involved in one way or another in the production of almost everything that represents a healthy body because of its key role in the growth of cells and in the building of tissue and in the growth and the health of organs and of glands. The reason vitamin A is so darn important, and the reason why it's called vitamin A, is because it was actually the first of the life-sustaining food molecules called vitamins that was discovered. We knew about proteins, we knew about carbohydrates, we knew about minerals for centuries, but it wasn't until the early 1900s that the tiny elements called vitamins were isolated, and vitamin A was the first of the vitamins to be discovered. Now, before you go out and start pounding vitamin A, there's a couple of things you might want to be aware of when it comes to getting your vitamin A levels up. For most people, there's going to be some obstacles, especially in the digestive system. Vitamin A is a fatty vitamin, and as we said a couple of days ago, as we said many times on this program, fats and fatty vitamins and fatty nutrients are complicated. They're much more complicated than their opposite, which is water. Fatty nutrients like vitamins require much more digestive processing than watery substances like protein and sugar and the B complex and vitamin C. This is especially true if you've had your gallbladder removed or you had any liver problems, or if you're dealing with Crohn's disease or intestinal permeability issues. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. Our number is 831-685-1080. That's your priority line number. Or 888-379-2552, toll free. 831-685-1080 or 888-379-2552. We will be back at you on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program with more good health information right after this. Don't go away. I'll be sitting in for the next 45 minutes or so with my good friend and colleague, Douglas Winfrey. Greetings, Doug. Good to hear from you again.
Yeah, welcome back to the show. You haven't been on in a little bit, but I've got a story here from Fox News that is headlined, 1/3 of Americans mix supplements with their meds, according to a study.
That's a good thing.
I would think so. Yeah. They say 1 in 3 adults in the U.S. taking both prescription medications and dietary supplements, creating a risk for dangerous interactions. They say these multivitamins have added ingredients like herbs or fish oil.
Wait. Yeah, the drugs don't cause a problem. It's the vitamins
that cause darn fish oil. I'll tell you. It's probably been killing people for years. Yeah, according to the senior author on this, who is a researcher with the Military Nutrition Division of the U.S. Army Research Institute of Environmental Medicine.
Okay.
I'd like to see his business card. That's quite a handle there. They go on to say multivitamins are commonly assumed to be safe, but our analysis suggests multivitamins, which may include a multivitamin plus combination products, can also contain botanical and herbal ingredients that have the potential to interact with prescription medications, according to Harris Lieberman.
They may make the drugs work better or work not as good or make them more poisonous.
Well, that's what I didn't understand. It's like you go back to, remember a few years ago, it's probably been close to 10 years ago now, when there was a famous baseball player that was trying to lose some weight before spring training. And so he's out there in like 100-degree weather wearing a rubber suit.
I remember that.
And he also had taken some product that had ephedra in it. And, of course, what was the FDA's reaction? Oh, yank that stuff off the market. One guy died. It might not have had anything to do with that he got a heat stroke from standing in the sun in 100-degree weather in a rubber suit and sweating out all his nutrients. That probably wasn't the cause. I'm sure it had to be the ephedra. Now, you as a biochemist, do you see this a lot?
The craziest thing.
On the fish oil deal.
I hear the craziest
things. If I were
things.
taking a drug that supposedly had an interaction with fish oil, are you telling me that my doctor would probably tell me not to eat fish?
Probably, possibly. I'm never surprised any longer.
That's insane. On one hand, they tell you, you should eat fish at least 2 servings a week. But I don't ever see a disclaimer written in small print at the bottom of the TV about, if you're taking this drug, don't eat that fish.
Well, here's the idea. why would a doctor tell you not to take your supplements so your drugs would work? I mean, the idea...
Because he's not a longevity distributor, and he doesn't get a kickback
I guess not,
off of
but
that.
prescription drugs are poisons, and nutrients help protect your body from poisons. The fact of the matter is that if you're taking prescription drugs, you want to be making sure that you get your nutritional supplements. Not only can you protect yourself from the toxicity associated with prescription drugs, but you may also be helping your body use less prescription drugs because the nutrients may be what you needed in the first place. The idea of laying off your drugs to make sure your medication can work is a classic case of a medical model run amok, a medical model that is so full of itself that it thinks that it's the only, or it has a monopoly on the healing process. The fact of the matter is drugs, as important as they may be, should only be used as a last resort. The first resort has to be diet and has to be supplementation. There's no, at the risk of repeating myself, there's no such thing as a drug deficiency disease. However, there are countless nutritional deficiency diseases. In fact, as Dr. Wallach has said, and as I agree with, almost every single health challenge you can name is a nutritional deficiency disease. I'm reading Doc's book right now. By the way, awesome book, Epigenetics. If you're out there listening, you want a good read, I highly recommend this book. It's non-technical. It's very easy to read. It's a walk through the thinking of the medical model from the days of witch doctors in ancient Sumeria all the way to modern times. And one of the things he points out is that there's no genetic diseases. You've heard Doc say this before, right? There's no such thing as a genetic disease. Now, Doc's not oblivious to the fact that people are not born with cerebral palsy or various kinds of genetic ailments, spina bifida, etc. But what he means when he says there's no genetic diseases is while genes may be involved, the reason why genes become defective is because genes need nutrition like every other part of the body does. Hang tight, I'll tell you what I mean when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben, sitting in for Dr. Wallach today, along with Doug Winfrey, and we're taking your calls at 831-685-1080. That's your priority line number. Do have a couple lines open there, 831-685-1080, or toll-free, 888-379-2552. Don't go away. We got more good health information coming at you on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program right after this break. Before we went to break, I was talking about this Doc Wallach's new book, Epigenetics. He's got a really cool chapter in here called Epigenetics, and he talks about the idea that genetic diseases are nutritional deficiencies. That's because as the fetus is developing inside the womb, as cells are dividing, the genes that are responsible for making the cells divide correctly depend on nutrients like every other part of the body depends on nutrients. You guys, vitamins, minerals, trace nutrients, these things are amino acids, essential amino acids, essential fatty acids. These things are not optional. They're must-haves, and if you are deficient in any way, shape, or form, and you don't have to be blatantly deficient, you could just be mildly deficient, there is no way to avoid negative effects in the body. All negative effects that occur in the body, all negative health effects that occur in the body have somewhere along the line some kind of nutritional deficiency associated with them, and that includes genetic diseases too. Prescription drugs? No, not so much. And I'm a pharmacist. I've studied prescription drugs now since 1983, and I can tell you definitively there is no such thing as a prescription drug deficiency. In fact, there is no real need for any prescription drugs. Yes, pain pills may help alleviate pain, and antibiotics are going to kill bacteria, but you don't need to have a beta blocker, and you don't need to have a calcium channel blocker, and your body doesn't have a need for an antihypertensive or an anticoagulant or any other kind of drug as long as it is strong and vital and healthy. Now, if you're sick and there's times you need to be on an emergency medication, sure, I understand that. But the idea that you can replace your nutritional supplements with prescription drugs, or as this boneheaded physician who you're talking about here, Doug, says you should avoid using your prescription drugs, and it's a lot of physicians, it's not just this one guy, that you should avoid using nutritional supplements so that your medication, your prescription poison works better, just flies in the face of common sense and ordinary intelligence. The fact of the matter is, essential means essential. It means you must have it. And there's 90 essential nutrients, we call them the mighty 90, and there's 0 essential prescription drugs. Was that too self-righteous, Doc and Doug? I didn't mean to be.
No, I think that just hits the nail right on the head. It brings to mind something that I've heard you talk about several times over the years, and that is, what was one of the first things when you went to pharmacy school that they taught you about prescription medications?
Emergencies only. That was one of the first things. And with antibiotics, you only stay on them for 2 weeks. at a time.
But
and then
also
the third thing is they're all toxic.
Yeah, that
And
they're poison.
That's one of the first things. The third thing we learn after, don't stay on your antibiotics for more than 2 weeks. The fact that prescription drugs are all toxic and all poisons, that's drilled into us. In fact, much of pharmacy school is studying side effects. Much of pharmacy school is studying the toxicity of drugs and how you minimize or alleviate the toxicity of drugs. There's no toxic
How much of that
vitamins
kind of schooling do medical doctors get, though?
on the toxicity of drugs.
On the side effects. I don't think they're taught any of that.
I can't say for sure, but I don't know if it's not a lot, because the drug companies are sponsoring the medical education. The drug companies are benefactors and sponsors of the things that are learned in medical school. So what do you think they're going to talk about? You know, the sales rep doesn't go in there talking to the doctor about how toxic the prescription drug is. They talk about how it's going to lower your cholesterol by 3% and maybe reduce heart attacks by 2%. And it's going to cost you $5 a pill. No, they don't say that part. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben, sitting in for Doc today. You are listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. We're coming back with your phone calls, 831-685-1080. That's your priority line number, and we do have a couple lines open for you, or 888-379-2552. Toll free. Don't go away. We'll be back after this.
Let's get to the phones. We got a lot of people waiting here.
Okay, who's first on the line?
Let's head to Minnesota. And Fred, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
Welcome, Fred.
Hi.
What's up?
Basically, I've been doing the healthy digestive cleanse for the last week. And,
Right.
I feel really good on it. I'm not very hungry. It kind of cut down my appetite a lot and stuff like that. And I have no issues. I've lost 8 pounds in the last 7 days, but
That's awesome.
today I went in to go to the bathroom. I had quite a bit of blood in my stool. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or if I have another issue. I have no pains or anything like that.
Are you having any diarrhea or loose stools or constipation or anything like that?
I did for the first couple days. But
Loose stools?
It doesn't, it doesn't bother me at all.
Well, it doesn't have to bother you, but it is something that you want to pay attention to. Loose stools are a sign that you're not absorbing your nutrients, and that can be significant. If you're not absorbing your nutrients from your Beyond Tangy Tangerine and your Healthy Start Pack, there's a very good possibility you're not absorbing nutrients from food, and that means you're going to be starving to death. And I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit, but that's really what happens. When we don't absorb our nutrients, we starve to death. We may get plenty of calories, but if we're not getting our nutrients, our body can't do what it needs to do, and there's no way that's not going to lead to some kind of health condition and ultimately to an accelerated, unfortunate demise. So we want to really pay attention to absorption. Very significant, even if it doesn't bother you. Now, assume you said you're taking the Healthy Digestion Pack. I assume you mean the Flora FX and the Ultimate EFA and the Ultimate Enzymes, along with the Beyond Tang and the OsteoFX. Is that right? The Healthy Digestion Pack?
Exactly, yeah. It's a 2.0 pack.
Okay. I'm guessing that you're not absorbing your nutrients. What I would do if I were you is I would start to double up or even triple up on the Flora FX for a while and see what happens. And then you may want to double up on the enzymes after meals and see what happens. And if you're not sipping on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine slowly and throughout the day, you might want to start doing that. And then finally, and last but most certainly not least, try to link up your digestive symptoms to specific foods. This is probably the single most important step we can take to returning ourselves to health and wellness if we're not doing as well as we think we should or think we could be doing. Now, every time you have constipation, diarrhea, loose stools, heartburn, gas, bloating, whatever your particular flavor of digestive symptomology is, whenever you have that, you want to backtrack to what you ate an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, all the way up to 6 or 8 hours before, and start to keep a running tabulation of the foods you're eating and how they're linked up to your digestive symptoms. And if you're like most people, you're going to be very, very surprised. You'll be like, oh my gosh, every time I have potatoes, I'm constipated. Or every time I have fruit juice, I get gas. Or every time I have food A, I get symptom B. And then you're going to want to start to eliminate those foods. So first and foremost, double or even triple on your Flora FX. Double or even triple on your digestive enzymes, and then link your digestive symptomology to problem foods and sip on your Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Don't do it all at once. And please regard your digestive symptomology as serious problems, even if they don't seem like they're serious, even if you're not in agony, and even if it's something that you think you can deal with. When you understand that your digestive symptoms may mean that you're not absorbing your vitamins and your minerals and your mighty 90 essential nutrients, you can understand that malabsorption and digestive symptomology can really be significant health challenges. Thanks so much for your call. Appreciate it. Hope we helped you out. Who's next on the line, Doug?
Do you think the nightly essence might be good for him as well?
I would I would. That's
I
not
would
part
even think he might try a gluten-free diet for a while.
And I would link problems up to gluten. As you well know, gluten can be a big, big problem. Not just gluten, though. It could be anything that's in grains. Gluten is certainly one of the major problematic elements in flour and grains, but there's others as well. And your point is well taken. Rather than doubling or tripling on the FlorFX, you may want to throw in the Nightly Essence, which is one of my personal favorite longevity products and one that I've been taking myself for years. All right, we got to take a break. We'll come back with more of your phone calls if you're on hold. Hang tight. Our number is 831-685-1080 or 888-379-2552. I am Pharmacist Ben along with Doug Winfrey, sitting in for Doc Wallach today. We're going to take a time out and come right back. Don't go away. Okay, back to the phones we go. Who's next on the line, Douglas?
Let's head to Utah. And Stephen, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
Hey, Stephen.
Hello. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. Thanks for calling.
Two issues. I have a friend that got hooked on meth, and it has completely destroyed her everything.
Okay.
My question is, I know that there's neural problems. I know that all the liver, all that. It's destroyed her. What do I need to buy, purchase?
What can you do? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Well, a couple things. First of all, when you have somebody who's hooked on methamphetamine, you got somebody who's destroying their body. So basically, you've got a body that's being destroyed. It doesn't matter. It's not the liver. It's not the nerves. It's not the brain. It's not the stomach. It's not the big toe. It's not the arms. It's not the elbow. It's the body. The entire body is falling apart. And all our bodies are falling apart, really. Hers is just falling apart at a greater or more accelerated pace. Does that make sense, first of all? She's just experiencing what we're all experiencing, but just at a faster, more accelerated, and more dramatic pace. All of us are falling apart, but she's falling apart much quicker and much more dramatically. So she needs the same things that you and I need. Nothing more, nothing less. She needs the Healthy Start Pack. She needs the Mighty 90. She probably should be throwing in some digestive system support. The longest journey begins with a single step, and you got to start where you can start, and that means with the Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients, the Healthy Start Pack, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, have her sip on it all day long. The OsteoFX, the Ultimate EFAs, and if it was me, I'd be throwing in all the digestive support, which includes the Biolumin Nightly Essence product and the Ultimate Enzymes. And please don't forget, I forgot to mention to our last caller, the importance of the Z-Radical for the digestive system as well as for the immune system. So using the Z-Radical can also be important. But you don't want to look at it like, we're going to work on her nerves and we're going to work on her liver and we're going to work on the various parts of her body. We want to think about working on her whole body, just like you and I need to think about working on our whole body as well, just like everybody needs to think about working on their whole bodies. She just has to do it she's just falling apart at a much quicker pace, so it's more urgent, and the need for supplementation is more dramatic. Healthy Start Pack, throw in some digestive support, and don't forget about the Z-Radical, which is always good for the digestive system, the immune system, the circulatory system, pretty much everything in the body, and it tastes great too. Hope that helps. Anything else you want to ask?
Yes. My sister come down with a disease. It's called OPCA, O-P-C-A, and it's a virus that eats the brain.
Right.
It gives you about 20 years to live. Do you know anything about this?
Yeah, I know a little bit about it. It's basically degeneration of the nerves in a specific part of your brain, the part of your brain that's responsible for balance. You got three main parts of your brain. You've got your cerebrum, which is the part that gives you thinking. You got the medulla, which is the part that controls your breathing and your heart rate. And then you got this middle part that's called the cerebellum. OPCA is a cerebellum atrophy. CA stands for cerebellum cerebellar atrophy, I should say, and that's a breakdown in the nerves that are responsible for balance. But again, it's just like with your friend that's hooked on the methamphetamine. You don't want to think about targeting her brain as much as you want to think about her whole body degenerating. Sure, the brain cells are where you're noticing it, but the whole body is falling apart. So once again, Healthy Start Pack. She probably wants to do a little bit more Beyond Tangy Tangerine just because she'll probably want more B vitamins. When you have a nervous system issue, the B vitamins can have some good benefits, especially balance kinds of issues. So maybe double up on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Throw in the Ultimate Daily. Use the Healthy Start Pack. The OsteoFX and the Ultimate EFAs are important. The EFAs can be especially important. for all degenerative kinds of issues. And I would probably be throwing in some of the Z-radical as well, which can help act as an anti-inflammatory. And if you want, you can also throw in the digestive support. Digestive support's always a good idea, especially that darn Biolumin Nightly Essence. Man, that stuff is amazing. If you're constipated, if you got diarrhea, if you got heartburn, if you have food allergies, if you have any kind of digestive issue, or really any degenerative issue at all, think Biolumin Nightly Essence. One of my personal favorite longevity products, along with the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Thanks so much for your call. Hope we helped you out. Let's see if we can squeeze one more in, Douglas.
All right, let's head to Maryland. And Fred, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
What's up, Fred?
Yeah. Hello?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Yeah, I'm Fred, yeah. I'm calling from Maryland. I spoke to Dr. Wallach on the 17th of April about a diagnosis from the doctors that said it was thymoma with the first biopsy, and then they repeated the biopsy, more invasive this time, under anesthesia, and they concluded that it was malignant thymoma. And so he recommended some products, though. But then before the products came in, I was hospitalized again, like close to 2 weeks ago. I was just discharged last Saturday. When I went to the hospital this time, they said there's beginning to form blood clots, and that this thymoma is pushing on the lungs and all that. And so they had to immediately start chemotherapy, which they did the following day, which was April 22nd. And so I was like, I've been on that, and I'm now on Commodine.
Where they put you on doxorubicin? Where'd they put you on? Do you know? That doesn't really matter.
Sorry?
They left your thymus in, though. They didn't take the thymus out, correct? Fred?
No, they didn't take that out.
Okay.
They said they have to start chemo because I'm forming blood clots and.
Okay. Here's the deal. Here's how I want you to look at this, Fred. By the way, for the listeners, a thymoma is a thymus tumor. The thymus is a gland, very important and underappreciated gland. It's right around the area of your heart that's involved with the immune system. You ever see how on cartoons or in the movies, the gorilla or the Tarzan type figure will beat his chest, like that? That's how you stimulate your thymus. The thymus is your immune system gland, and without a thymus, you're in big trouble. If you have cancer of the thymus, chances are you've been having some problems your whole life, Fred. You with me, my friend? Thymus cancer usually is associated with long-term immune system problems, including autoimmune diseases. You may not have known it, but it's almost impossible to have a thymoma, which is rare, by the way, without having some long-standing immune problems. When you have long-standing immune problems, it should come as no surprise if you've listened to me before, if you listen to my program or you listen to this program, that you got to focus on the digestive system first and foremost. That's how the enemy gets into the body to activate the immune system. Nothing says immune problem more than a thymus deficiency or a thymus problem like a thymoma, because the thymus is an immune gland. So you got to focus on foods first, my friend. That means eliminating problem foods. Gluten is a big problem. Dairy is a big problem. If you got constipation, which you probably have had constipation, you want to focus on foods that are causing that problem, or any kind of digestive problem, gas, diarrhea, whatever, loose stools. Focus on the foods that are causing that problem. Eliminate those foods. Make sure you're using the Biolumin Nightly Essence. And by the way, eating fermented foods is also important. Kimchi, miso, tempeh, sauerkraut. Anything that's a fermented food can contribute to the good bacteria in the gut, in addition to making sure that you're using your Biolumin Nightly Essence. The Z-Radical is wonderful not just for the immune system, but it's one of the most powerful anti-cancer supplements that you could find. Google fucoidan and cancer, and you're going to get over 100, you'll get hundreds really, of scientific articles that talk about fucoidan, the active ingredient in the Z-Radical, and cancer. So the Z-Radical is also important, and don't forget about the Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients. Get on the Healthy Start Pack. Double up on your Beyond Tangy Tangerine, but make sure you're sipping on it so you get full advantage of those nutrients. And God bless you. I hope everything works out for you, Fred. Thanks for calling from Maryland. Okay, I'm Pharmacist Ben. Got a few more minutes to talk to you on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. Program. I'm Pharmacist Ben, along with Doug Winfrey, sitting in for Doc today. 831-685-1080 is your priority line number, or 888-379-2552. Toll free. Who's next on the line, Doug?
Well, let's head to Colorado, your state. And
all right.
Cherie, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
Colorado. What's up, Cherie? Where are you?
Ben and Doug from southeast Colorado. I have a question about the product ASAP. And I have a friend who's a recovering alcoholic and another friend who is sensitive to red wine, and it does list their grain alcohol. What does that mean?
I don't know what that means. Doug, do you know? What do you mean it lists grain alcohol? Oh, in the product there's grain alcohol.
In the products, yes.
Oh, there's a tiny, tiny, insignificant amount to dissolve the active ingredients. It's very, very insignificant. I can't, I'm not an alcoholic necessarily, like my alcohol, but I don't know if that makes me an alcoholic. But I don't know if you're a recovering alcoholic, if you can use grain alcohol in medications or in nutritional supplements. Maybe you know more about that, Doug. I don't know if that's the case or not. So yes, there is grain alcohol in there. I didn't imply that you're an alcoholic there, Doug. That's not what I meant. But do you know anything about the grain alcohol in there? Is that a problem for alcohol?
The only thing I would think would be, I think it's such a minuscule amount that it wouldn't really be an issue. I'd be more concerned if the person's gluten intolerant and it, grain alcohol.
The grains in there?
Yeah,
but it's so insignificant. Ma'am, I don't think that's going to be a problem. They're going to have to determine that for themselves. But my hunch would be that that's so insignificant, as Doug was saying, that that's not going to be an issue.
Okay, that sounds good.
Got it?
I have one other question.
Sure.
I have an 80-year-old friend who wants to take the jointed bone pack, but he doesn't have a gallbladder. He's had gallbladder surgery. Is that a problem?
Well, it's not necessarily a problem. He's just going to have to pay extra attention to absorption. Without a gallbladder, you're at major risk for malabsorption. That means not absorption. That means, in nutrition, as Doc Wallach has said so many times, so accurately and so succinctly, it's not what you eat, it's what you absorb. It doesn't matter what we take in terms of supplements, it's what's getting into our blood through the digestive system. And in order for stuff to get into the blood through the digestive system, you need to have bile, which means you need a gallbladder. Without a gallbladder, you got to pay really great attention to absorption. Not that it can't be done. It can be done. You're always going to make a little bit of bile from your liver, but you got to really help things out. Bile salts, like you get in the Ultimate Enzymes, are a must-have. You can also, and interestingly, by the way, cholesterol is used by the body to make bile. So eating cholesterol-containing foods, that might be a strategy, something that you want to think about. Although without a gallbladder, you're going to have to be a little careful with that. Using the amino acid taurine, Taurine, can help. Using the B vitamin-like substance choline, that can help. You're going to get choline in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine product, and also in I believe in the Ultimate Daily, there's some choline as well. Let's see what else. Apple cider vinegar after meals might also be something that you want to think about. And of course, whenever you have a problem with malabsorption, whenever you have any digestive problem, the Biolumin Nightly Essence is going to be your best friend. And that's also really especially true with fat metabolism. And it's one of the hidden benefits associated with the Biolumin Nightly Essence is it will help you process and utilize fats from your diet. Without a good source of bacteria, without the Biolumin Nightly Essence, you're going to have problems absorbing and utilizing fats. So have your friend get on the Biolumin Nightly Essence as well. Ultimate Enzymes, Biolumin Nightly Essence, a little bit of apple cider vinegar after meals. Probably wouldn't hurt to throw in some essential fatty acids in the Healthy Start Pack as well. And then maybe use smaller doses, so give his body, make it a little bit easier for his body to absorb the nutrients. It's not what you eat, it's not what you supplement with, it's what you absorb. So using smaller doses might be to your advantage. And thanks so much for your call from southeastern Colorado. Appreciate it very much. Let's see if we can squeeze one more call in. What do you think, Doug?
We're just about out of time. I would say, as far as the gallbladder thing, Dr. Wallach actually refers to the Ultimate Enzymes as gallbladder in a bottle. So
I can see that.
Yeah, that's definitely good advice to tell them to.
It's the ox bile, the bile salts in there. Bile is one of the most underappreciated of all the bodily fluids. Everybody knows how important the blood is. Most people tell you the lymph is important, but very few people recognize how important bile is. Bile is like your body's detergent. It's your body's soap. It helps scrub away the oily material from foods so that your body can absorb the fats and the fatty vitamins. You guys, nutritional supplements are not optional. Nutritional elements are must-haves. That's why they're called essential. And nutritional supplementation is one of the best ways to make sure you get your essential nutrients. They're not coming from foods. You got to have them, and that makes supplementation an absolute must. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Pharmacist Ben for Doug Winfrey and for Doc Wallach and for all the folks at the ZBS Radio Network. Make sure you have yourselves a wonderful, beautiful, spectacular day. We will talk to you all later. Bye for now.